Tansei, welcome to APTN National News. I'm Creeson Agecoutay. Thank you for joining us. Jeremy Skibitsky killed 4 Indigenous women in Winnipeg in 2022. He'll be sentenced for that tomorrow, but the identity of his first victim is still not known. So she was given a powerful Anishinaabemowin spirit name, Agecoutay, or Buffalo Woman. Thelma Morisseau is one of the people who helped give her that name. APTN's T.R. Wheatley spoke with her near a mural lined with the faces of women and girls who were murdered or went missing in the 2000s.
I just felt very sad because no one was being identified as her family. Part of our cultural understanding is that, Niniwe Maganaduk, we're all related, we're all family. My name is Thelma Morisseau. I also go by the name of Danima. There was other grandmothers involved as well. We decided to pass on the name Agecoutay. So our community kind of adopted her, claimed her. Well, not just kind of, we have. She matters. She's important. She is loved. She deserved to be recognized, both here in this physical realm, but in the spirit realm as well. Agecoutay. That name comes from this grandmother, whose name is Mary Roberts Iba. She's passed on. Her spirit name was Nujekwe, and she was one of my teachers. The bundle that she carried, she was a 4th degree Medewin woman in the lodge. That name came to be when she was out fasting. This is back in the 90s. When she went on one of her last fasts. Basically, the Buffalo Spirit visited her and shared many things with her that Spirit Buffalo wanted to help. And so one of the ways she wanted to do that is by giving all of us a name. And that name is her name, Agecoutay. It's a beautiful name. It's a beautiful gift to us as Anishinaabe women. For the Medewin Lodge, we have an understanding that the west door is the doorway our spirit travels when we leave. It's that doorway we dance out, But also in that doorway, the one that guards that doorway is that Buffalo Spirit. For the longest time, that Buffalo Spirit was stood there in the west, guarding that doorway for us on one leg. And she did that with the belief and faith that one day we would begin to pick up our sacred bundles. And that has happened. Right across North America, that has happened. People are picking up their sacred ceremonies, they're picking up their language, they're picking up their pipes, their sun dances, their sweat lodges, everything. So some elders talk about that buffalo stands now on 3 legs, stronger. So she is that faith carrier as well. And among the Sioux people, the buffalo skull is really important. They're always used in the Sundance with the Lakota people. So it has lots of significance. You talk about the white buffalo calf woman. It has lots of significance. What has happened to Buffalo Woman, Agecoutay, could happen to any one of us. My daughter, she could be I could be her grandmother or even her great-grandmother. I could be that to her, for her. And so I just see this as a really special honor that I could be able to see her in that way. For the whole duration of court, one of the grandmothers went in early in the morning and smudged the courtroom. We brought in a buffalo headdress, and the courts were accepting of us placing that headdress in front of where the Crown Attorney was, an empty chair that signified Agecoutay. And on that chair, we placed a beautiful red dress, and that symbolizes her. And it could symbolize all the women, right, that are still missing and not able to be identified.
Thank you to T.R. Wheatley for that interview with Thelma. Tomorrow, TR will be back at court covering the sentencing for Jeremy Skibitsky. If you are triggered by this report and the ongoing coverage from this trial, supports are available 24/7 through the MMIWG support line. That number is 1-844-413-6649. The Lac La Ronge Indian Band in Saskatchewan has approved a settlement agreement with the federal government securing $601.5 million for its community, the largest of its kind in Canadian history. The agreement addresses the long-standing Cows and Plows Clause of Treaty 6, where Canada broke its promise to provide agricultural support to the band after it signed Treaty 6 in 1889. The community held a vote last week on the decision, with 95% of voters in favor of the agreement. Lac La Ronge will now work with Ottawa to finalize the deal, which is expected to take up to 7 months. In a statement, Chief Tammy Cook-Searson said, "This is a momentous day for Lac La Ronge Indian Band. The membership's overwhelming support for the settlement demonstrates their commitment to securing a better future for our community. We are pleased that Canada has finally recognized and acknowledged its failure to fulfill the obligations under Treaty 6, and this settlement is a critical step towards rectifying that historical wrong." Lac La Ronge is one of the largest First Nations in Canada with almost 12,000 members. The Pimichikamak Cree Nation is calling on the Manitoba government to cancel moose hunting licenses in its territory, adding that the moose population is in crisis. On Monday, Pimichikamak Chief David Monias applied for an injunction at Manitoba Court of King's Bench requesting that all provincially granted license for Manitoba residents to hunt moose in its territory be cancelled this year. Chief Monias alleges Manitoba violated Treaty 5 and its 1977 Northern Flood Agreement, where Canada and the province promised Pimichikamak and other First Nations in the area first priority to all wildlife resources within their trapline territory. The chief says his people don't hunt for game or trophies, they hunt to feed their families, and some hunters have had to cross provincial borders just to harvest moose. Manitoba Minister of Natural Resources Jamie Moses says licenses have been reduced and that the province continues to engage with First Nations on the matter. The New Brunswick government says a team of 10 First Nations wildland firefighters has been deployed to Alberta to help with wildfire efforts there. Natural Resources and Energy Development Minister Ted Fleming says New Brunswick is the first province in Atlantic Canada to help in the deployment of an Indigenous firefighting crew. The team is known as the Wabanaki Wildland Crew and includes members from multiple First Nations. They'll be in Alberta for 2 weeks to fight fires. A parliamentary committee examined the sustainable management of the boreal caribou herd in north central Quebec on Monday. Once again, the Environment Committee heard how the caribou are at risk of extinction. AFN Regional Chief Ghislain Bicard called on the Quebec government to develop a management plan. Earlier this year, Federal Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault recommended that Cabinet adopt an emergency decree to protect woodland caribou in Quebec. The provincial forestry industry and some municipalities say such a move will kill thousands of jobs. The Conservatives in Bloc Québécois are also against it because of what they say it will do to the local economy. But Picard, speaking in French, told the committee Indigenous communities support the emergency decree.
The government of Quebec persists in excluding First Nations from all decision-making related to caribou. Faced with its refusal to cooperate, the First Nations called on the federal government to intervene in accordance with its legal obligation. Minister Guilbeault was the only one to take our concerns and propose solutions seriously.
Indigenous youth can now learn Anishinaabemowin on YouTube. We'll introduce you to the teacher in about 3 minutes. We'll be right back. come back. Over the weekend, 22 youth embarked on a 100-kilometer canoe journey on the Trent-Severn Waterway. It's the 9th year the Kawartha Rotary Club has organized the event. Annette Francis met up with them as they set out from Peterborough, Ontario.
It's the first day together for this group of teens, all between 16 to 18 years old. Following a quick opening circle and encouraging words, they break the ice with the traditional Inuit blanket toss. They'll be learning a lot about Indigenous culture during their 6-day paddle. That's one of the reasons why Oliver Webster, who is originally from Nunavut, has come back for the 3rd year.
Well, I come here a lot because I really enjoy it. I really like learning about like a bunch of cultures, hearing a bunch of elders speak, hearing like knowledge keepers, fire keepers, and everyone telling me about their stories. I also just really enjoy canoeing a lot. I like the physical activity and the challenge of it, and I just really like the area. It's a really nice area.
Glenn Caritas is the on-water coordinator for the Rotary Club's Adventure in Understanding program. It began in 2014. He said this year brings students from 10 Ontario communities, including Curve Lake First Nation and Rotary Exchange students from Switzerland and Italy.
It's just a marvelous time to be out on the land and water and bringing communities together, Indigenous, settler, and new Canadian. I think it's really important that we come together and we spend time together, and what a perfect way to do this on a canoe trip and just share time. And then in the evenings we meet with elders for teachings from the Mississauga elders, and yeah, what fun we're going to have.
For safety, the students need to pass a swimming test. Stitas Wepo has been in Canada for 5 years. He's originally from Kenya. He says learning about Indigenous culture and nature along the Trent-Severn Waterway is why he's here.
It's just going on the water, just being there without my phone. I think that's the highlight for me. And then in terms of the activity, I think is the learning that we're going to do along the way. So as I said, I'm looking forward to learning a lot about trees.
Webster says it's also about the connections.
I leave here usually with a lot of information that I usually don't know of, and I also just like leaving with like a bunch of connections with people on the trip.
The students made their way up to the Peterborough lift locks and stopped for the evening at Trent University. They'll camp out along the route and end the trip on Friday at Curve Lake First Nation. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Peterborough, Ontario.
An Anishinaabe language instructor in Northern Ontario is bringing her classroom to YouTube. Barbara Nolan, who lives in Garden River First Nation east of Sault Ste. Marie, is a lifelong speaker of Anishinaabemowin and a firm believer in the role of language in cultural preservation. APTN's Mike McDonald brings us the story.
An animated version of language instructor Barbara Nolan greets visitors to her YouTube page, which went online for the first time this past weekend. Producing videos geared toward children has been a long-time goal for Nolan, who's been involved in language teaching since 1973, when she developed the first Native as a Second Language program for elementary schools.
I've had that in my mind for a number of years. You know, I should be producing videos for children and animated so that they're interested, they watch. So I met Espican in November at a conference that I was asked to speak on land-based learning. And when I went there, him and I started talking, and then he says, I can do that for you.
It's just me doing all the editing. It's just me editing all the sound, doing the recording. My brother does the recording. He does the lights. I do the animatics for the animators. So I send him this. I say, this is how I want it to look. And he pretties it up, remakes everything, redraws everything.
Nolan's daughter, Colleen, acts as a social media coordinator, travel agent, and overall assistant. She says the aim is to get her mother's videos into daycare facilities and classrooms.
All of the videos are going to be uploaded onto YouTube, as well as future videos. The @Barbara_Nolan, which is also her TikTok, right? So, like she said, for daycare, for childcare, for parents that want, even parents that want to learn.
There's a child in every one of us, Like you probably like to go and play bawl with your kid or just act like a kid. Hey, there's that inner child within each and every one of us, that's going to enjoy those, and I've heard adults say, well, I'm going to watch those. Those are so cool.
Nolan continues to deliver virtual and in-person instruction in the region. There are 10 videos in her children's series so far, with episodes being uploaded to YouTube this week and more to come at a later date. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Super cool story. Thank you, Mike. With Paris Fashion Week just around the corner, another group of Indigenous models and fashion designers will showcase their work on the world stage. We'll speak with two of the models going to Paris when we come back. Stay with us. Over on the East Coast, St. John's 16, Charlottetown 22. La Grande River 10, Nain 19. Saguenay 17, Gaspé 17 as well. Peterborough 25, Toronto 25 as well. Thunder Bay 21, Timmins 24. 11 in God's Lake, 15 in The Paw. Gimli 16, Dauphin 11. Regina 16, North Battleford 15. Larange 14, Uranium City 15. 18 in Grand Prairie, 25 in Fort McMurray. Lethbridge 27, Red Deer 25. 18 in Tofino, Kamloops 21. Prince George 13, Smithers 18. Watson Lake 17, Mayo 16. Yellowknife 18, Wrigley 19. Sax Harbor 7, Fort McPherson 18. Chesterfield 16, Baker Lake 18. Iqaluit 11, and Clyde River 4. This year's Paris Fashion Week will run from September 23rd to October 1st. For designers and models from around the world, the international event is usually on their bucket list as a life goal or an event they want to have in their portfolio. For 23-year-old Madison Moore from Agecoutay Cree Nation in northern Manitoba, it's a dream come true to be able to attend the show and walk down the runway while showcasing her favorite Indigenous designers. Madison's friend Aaliyah Tate is Cree and Mi'kmaq from Listagouche in Quebec. She is also joining her to Paris Fashion Week. They spoke with us in studio earlier. Here's that interview. Madison and Aaliyah, thank you both for being here. Tell us about this great opportunity and getting to go to Paris in the fall and how much this means to both of you.
Yeah, it's really amazing to be able to have the opportunity to model in Paris Fashion Week. It feels like it's an historic and once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, not only for us, but for our community and all the Indigenous people across Turtle Island.
Aaliyah?
Yeah, not only are we going to Paris to model, that's something that we both have had on our minds for so long. It's been a dream for us, but like we're doing it for our Indigenous community. We get to represent two beautiful Indigenous designers, and I just can't wait for that.
No, that's awesome. Tell me how you two connected with designer Alicia Sutherland, and how much her designs mean to you.
Sure. We connected with Alicia through Manitowabe, actually. We were both selected to model for the festival, and then she selected us to be one of her models, and then we ended up doing a fitting at her house.
Yeah, and during the fitting, she was just kind of like talking with us, asking us questions, getting to know us, and then we shared a little bit about our goals and stuff, and then she kind of just went on and motivated us, like just shared some really strong words with us, and I remember we were all like tearing up because it was just like really touching, and it inspired us and like it pushed us to keep going with what we want to do.
Wow, so one thing just led to another.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Both of you have been keeping busy all summer, fundraising just so you can go to this event in Paris in the fall. How has that been?
It's been tough trying to fundraise, but it's also been rewarding for the hard work that we've been doing. We are doing like yard sales, we're doing Chase the Ace boards, we're doing raffles, any sort of fundraising that we can do to raise the amount that we can go to Paris.
Yeah, I like it because we're doing it as a team as well. We're both trying to get each other out there, and it's been really good. We've been connecting with a lot of like people we never thought we would get the chance to talk with and stuff, and it's super cool. And I had something I wanted to say, I just forgot it.
I'm sure there's been a lot of support though from all of the community, in wanting you both to go.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like as soon as we announced that we're going to Paris Fashion Week, everyone was so excited and supportive, and that they wanted to help us and be there for us, and it felt so warming, like yes, we want to bring you to Paris, share this experience with everybody, and having the open arms to do it with them.
Exactly, yeah.
Was something like modeling always on your guys' radar? Was that something you wanted to do later in life?
Yeah, for me personally, like growing up, it always like intrigued me, like taking photos and just being goofy in front of the camera. And then like my peers, coworkers around me would always encourage me to model. And then when I met Maddie a couple of years back, it was just something we both were interested in, and we used to work in a warehouse, and we would practice on our breaks how to model walk, and we'd be like, one day we're going to be on these runways, one way we'll be on these stages.
Yeah, and I remember like in the warehouse too, like people would be like, you guys should be models, you guys should do this, do that, and we're like, maybe we can do that, And for myself, it started when I was 17 for modeling. It was for a small fashion show up in my community of Agecoutay Cree Nation. And I started with my best friend at the time, and it was really thrilling, the experience to go on the runway. I felt really powerful and strong, and I felt confident, and I feel like I want everybody to feel that, and I want to share the experience with that too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
And Maddie, you're not new to being in front of crowds. You ran previously in 2023 for Miss Universe Canada.
Yes, that is correct. I went to Miss Universe Canada last year and competed in Vancouver. Although it was a big crowd, I still get very, very nervous. I still get like jittery, and I still get shaky, but it's very thrilling to be able to push myself past my limits and be uncomfortable in that situation and know that I'm okay to do this.
Finally, any last words of advice for young women out there, Indigenous youth who want to get involved in modeling?
I would say no matter how much you have that fear and anxiety, if that's something you really want to do, you should do it, because you're able to accomplish that if you truly believe in yourself. Just take that leap and do it.
Exactly. One thing that I carry with me from my late Papa Zach is fear is the killer of dreams, and it's so true, and I carry that with me. And I truly believe that you are capable of doing anything your dreams. You can reach for the stars and even more than that. And I want to share that with everybody, that I never thought that I can go somewhere, like go to Paris, go to Miss Universe Canada. And I did it, and I felt accomplished, and I felt great doing that. And I want everyone to feel the same way and share that you can do anything.
Tapwe, well, Madison and Aaliyah, thank you both for talking to us, and we wish you all the best in Paris.
Thank you. Appreciate us a lot.
And we wish all the designers and models a safe journey to Paris and back to their home fires. Make us proud. That's your midday newscast for this Tuesday, August 27th. We'll be back in a few hours for your evening newscast. From everyone at APTN National News and from our reporters and camera people across the country, hi miigwech masi cho. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again. Ekse.